Hey, how's it going, everybody? Charlie Wilson here, aka Sinister Charlie. Welcome back. Hi, it's good to see you again. Acorns. It's been big. Acorns have been big lately. Let's go ahead and like this. The Acorn cop incident. It's weirder than you thought. I saw the video. I don't know. That guy should never have been a cop. I don't know why he was a cop or why he chose to want to be a cop. Just like everything he could have done wrong, he did wrong. And now he will never be known as the Acorn Man. I don't know how that guy's going to live the rest of his life. It's like Jeebus. But, he could have killed somebody, so it's good that he didn't. Maybe you should maybe he should spend some more time on the range, differentiating between what an acorn and what a gunshot sounds like. And I've seen the video, but I wanted to see what Angry Cop thinks. It's probably not good. He probably doesn't think it's great, and I can't see him defending the guy. So this is going to be fun. Go.
This video is going to be a little spicy. Hey, YouTube overlords, just as a heads up. All right, this is for educational purposes only. Nobody gets hurt in this video. This is all training.
It's training, YouTube.
Now, there's no other way to say this, so let's just jump right in onto this training. Bad boy. A Florida officer completely mag-dumped into his own patrol car.
Get it. What are you getting? I don't know.
After he heard what he thought was a gunshot. And it wasn't. It ended up just being an acorn falling on top of his car. So yes, an officer mag-dumped into his own patrol car with somebody in it after he heard an acorn hit the hood. Not a good look. You heard me right.
By the way, if it was just a single gunshot that he heard coming out of his vehicle, and no other gunshots, just the one acorn fell in the. Maybe assess the situation first. It's. I just can't understand why you would go so panic mode in that situation. Like, man, that
Florida man is evolving.
We'll find out.
He's evolving into Florida cop, and I'm really scared as to what could potentially happen with Florida cop. But at the same time, the anarchist in me is really excited to see what could happen with the new headlines. Florida cop does, etc. Florida cop saves child from being eaten by an alligator at alligator farm by tasing alligator 30 times.
Word.
That's actually a positive Florida cop story.
That is.
The bad ones would have to do with meth. Gosh, but I'd still like to see those headlines. You know what I don't want to see, though? Your personal information on the internet.
What?
That's why this video's sponsor is Aura. Have you ever Googled yourself? Well, there's companies out there called data brokers that collect all that juicy little tidbits of information, and they sell it.
We sit through ads on this channel. So.
To scammers, hackers, governments. That's right. The government is tracking you and seeing where you go to, which sites you use, which is why I started using Aura, today's sponsor. Now, cleaning up all my information does reduce the amount of spam that I get, but it also protects me from hackers using this type of information in order to get into my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. With Aura, you also get credit monitoring, antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft monitoring, and insurance all in one single affordable app. That's easy. You might say, but AC, I've already got a VPN. Yeah, but do you have all of it? What's the point of locking the front door if the garage is wide open? Have all the tools. That way you can have your privacy and protect it like I value mine.
Indeed.
Just check out aura.com/angrycops. Click the link below and get your free 2-week trial.
Go there. Do that.
See the advantages for yourself. But let's get back to the video. I'm going to give you everything that actually happened, why they were there, the in-between, the after effects, and a little bit of backstory on the officer right now. Let's get the full picture.
Right now.
Two Florida deputies, the Quick Draw McGraw guy and his sergeant, were reporting to a domestic incident. A young lady was having a tough time with her boyfriend. He stole her car, was making threatening messages to her, and she was in fear for her safety. Well, the officers ended up catching him and putting him in the back of their vehicle in handcuffs. And while talking to the young woman, they discovered that there were some photos sent to her from the jerky boyfriend.
What a jerk.
One of these photos looked like the bad boyfriend had the end of a suppressor sticking out. The end of a suppressor for potentially a pistol. So So our deputy decides to go back to the car and do a more thorough search of the individual to make sure that he didn't sneak some sort of weapon on him in the back of the patrol car. That's when it went nuts. An acorn drops from a tree above and hits the top of the patrol vehicle, sending the deputy into fight or flight mode, thinking that the bad boyfriend inside of the...
And by the way, that was a horrible tactical roll. And why would you need to do a tactical roll in that situation? Just get behind the car and then run behind another car. Just run. He's handcuffed in the back of a patrol car. I doubt he would have good accuracy. I'm pretty sure you'd be all right. If
police vehicle did have a suppressed weapon on him and just fired a round off at him. The deputy then continues to barrel roll a couple of times, screaming that he's been hit, and then mag dumping into his own patrol vehicle, thinking that he was being shot at.
I know a lot of you are, and then I started blasting. I know a lot of you are thinking probably have never, some of you may have never handled guns before, but I can't think of a situation where you just start blasting like that. You just run. You can run over. It's fine. You'd probably be okay.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed.
Now, for those of you that aren't super cool firearms nerds out there, a suppressor can seriously limit the amount of decibels, the loudness, of a round being fired. However, a cold suppressor shot is much louder than a hot suppressor shot. So, yes, does it limit the amount of sound that comes out? Of course it does. That's what a suppressor does. But if a dude sitting in the back of a patrol car hasn't fired that weapon off in a while, the suppressor is cold. If they fire that, it's gonna sound fairly loud. Not normal gunshot loud, but like ears ringing, what was that? Not...
Dunk.
You follow me? A significant pow, not a
something that you might, because I'm sure a lot of people have had stuff hit the top of their car before, and that's probably what it sounded like a dunk. That sounds nothing like a gunshot.
I'm sure Garand Thumb and Demolition Ranch have done a video on it. Now, unfortunately, after the Acorn heard round the world, the officer does his barrel rolls, empties the mag dumps, but also says that he's shot, which he is not.
What are you shooting at? What are you even shooting at?
In the officer's own words, after describing the incident, after he heard he felt his legs go out and thought that he was shot. But once again, he was not. Now, all of these actions, the barrel rolls, the screaming, I'm shot, the shots fired, the mag dumping into his own patrol vehicle, all this from the combat constable, sends some signals to the sergeant that's there with the female victim of this entire incident. And she sees it going on and rightfully so thinks, oh my God, my officer's being shot at by the guy from inside the vehicle. And she licks off a couple rounds. Now, seriously, what would you do if your friend's laying on the ground screaming he's shot and licking off rounds?
What?
You'd be like, oh wow, this guy's pretty serious.
That was the best part. What was that, man? Ugh.
I think that he was definitely shot by the way he's acting. I should react appropriately. Now, the most insane thing about this story, I feel, is that with the amount of rounds fired and number of acorns fallen, nobody was shot. The officer wasn't shot, we know that already, but neither was the defendant inside of the vehicle that was being detained and possibly arrested for the harassment of his girlfriend. Out of all the rounds fired at the vehicle with the dude in it handcuffed, nobody got hit, which leads me to believe, and this is my weird trainer thought, right? Like, as a trainer, I'm looking at this and saying, how shitty were your shooting tactics if not even a single round hit your target? But I want to spend some more time on the range. Now,
maybe.
I'm a big supporter of having military veterans in police departments.
I'm all right with it, too. When I got out, I looked into joining the Oxnard and the Ventura Police, or Ventura Sheriff's County Department and the Oxnard Police Department when I got out, and it just wasn't for me. I especially I think the Chris Dorner thing happened during that time, so I was like, nah, I'm good, I'm all right. Well, thanks, I'm all right.
Now, why? Obviously, you already trained with the firearm. You've got at least a decent amount of discipline to have like gone through basic training, so you can listen to the hierarchy of your platoon sergeant and shift supervisor, sergeant, lieutenants, etc. And I'm a huge proponent of having combat veterans on the streets because guess what? In situations where there's a gunfight, some of these combat veterans already know how they would act, and that's a big question. Hey, new guy on the street, how would you react if somebody was shooting at you? I don't know. I've never been in that position, and I only get training once a year on it. Hey, combat veteran who spent years overseas and years doing the job that prepared him to deal with these combat scenarios, how would you deal with being shot at?
Well, go hide behind a car.
Having been in Afghanistan or Iraq for a number of years and having been shot at and returning fire, I know how I would act in those scenarios. There's going to be some F-bombs going around, but I'm not going to just start screaming and falling on the ground yelling I'm shot when I'm not. Which is another huge twist in this weird, nutso, pun intended, story. Is the deputy that lost his mind is a combat veteran.
Well, what did he do?
Now, could we attribute some of this to PTSD? Now, here's his background. 10 years as a Special Forces officer with 2 tours to Afghanistan.
Special Forces officer, though? I don't know.
Now, this is the news. So I don't know if Special Forces officer means that he was in Special Forces and was an officer of an ODA team, or if he was just an officer attached to a Special Forces unit, which are 2 completely different things, and would explain a little bit better of why a Special Forces officer, soldier, would react in such a way that it would baffle me for a person with that amount of training. But in addition to those 2 tours in the Special Forces service and an officer in the military, the officer states that he never saw combat during his 2 tours in Afghanistan. Which is just, how does a Special Forces guy not see combat?
It depend what. Well, he obviously wasn't a SEAL, right? I don't. What are we defining as Special Forces? That's the thing. I haven't looked too deeply into the guy's background. I did look up his name. But I didn't look any more deeply into that, so who knows?
That in Afghanistan after 2 years, it's got to be that he's an officer attached to a Special Forces unit, or if he was an officer in Special Forces, I would assume that he stayed on post half the time because maybe the guys saw him act like this and were like, no, this guy cannot, he can't go outside.
Get that guy a wooden rifle.
The wire with us. Absolutely not. Nope. Stay here. Do a different job. You're not going to go do the kinetic stuff. And if he is SF, then that just kind of goes to show you how stressful the cop job is. Even an SF guy who's got all the training in the world for combat scenarios,
that he was
lost his fucking mind
in combat
in the middle of a call when something that he thought happened didn't.
Although if you have seen Generation Kill, Captain America, if you know that character Captain America, then maybe that makes more sense. Like, follow my tracers.
Happen. How do you expect a normal officer who's just a cat off the streets with like pistol training once or twice a year for a combination of 6 or 8 hours to react? So there you go. More training for cops, obviously, is something we should all be able to get behind. Now, what I think is 100% the right decision, the officer resigned, because this job is definitely not for him if he's got that.
They probably gave him the option, too. It's like, you should probably just quit. We don't want to fire you and make it weird. He's like, yeah, I should probably quit. It's probably, it would be funny if he got into streaming or making videos, Obviously, in the initial video, like if he made a video explaining what went wrong and why he freaked out the way he did, that video would get a lot of views and people would watch. They'd make fun of him a lot, but, that's an option. It's definitely an option.
Much of a hair trigger. But me being my smart ass in this self, couldn't help but make this.
Nah.
Well, you want to get nuts? Come on.
I won't buy it. But
you can pick up this shirt and a whole bunch of other shirts.
No offense.
At angry-cops.com. I've got new Marine ones. Lance Corporal Underground. Some of you guys wanted a shirt, so I doodled one up. Yeah, there's a dead hooker in it.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
You're welcome.
Right on.
And I know you like crayons, so I made this one too. All right. Angry-cops.com.
Word up. Good
all
job.
the links, all the stuff, all the merch. It even has a link to my live streaming, which I'll probably be talking about this later on this week. Okay, carry
Word
on.
Work, and just skibbity doop, bandy doop, dop doop. All right, cool, good stuff. Just wanted to see his reaction to it because mine was like in disbelief of how ridiculous that was. And I got a lot to say about it, but I'll keep my other opinions to myself about cops being allowed to have guns and, other people not so much. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe down below. It makes me feel real good inside and helps out the channel. And if you got any suggestions, put them in the comments or call me a jerk or whatever you want to do. Thanks. Bye.